Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules the Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and we come back here and talk about it. And today we're talking about episode 5 through 9 of Tower of God. I said a little bit of anime, but this week was a little bit more anime than we usually do. 5 through 9 of Tower of God. We picked it out of these anime. Next week is the last time we're going to be talking about Tower of God. So we get to rate it on this scale here from S to F, and we get to rate it along with you. And we get to pick a brand new anime out of the chest. One of these anime, other than Tower of God, that's still there, will be chosen as the next anime that will give our life to for the next couple weeks. I do not go on this anime journey alone. I go on it with my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how's your Valentine's Day?
It's been good, peaceful. Been playing some video games.
We were just talking about Helldivers 2, which
Man, oh man, the Helldiver brain rot has gotten a hold of me for sure.
I'm
There's
definitely
a lot of good things to say about that game.
for sure. I definitely want to get into that to play it, but I've definitely been playing some Valorant as well. And the duo bundle thing looks really good, but for $16, I don't know about that for some gun buddies and all that stuff. But we have so much anime to talk about. Say hello if you're here in the live chat, whether you're watching on Twitch, YouTube. You can submit a brand new anime for us to watch, possibly get it on the list of anime here by submitting 500 bits on Twitch or a $5 super chat on YouTube. That would go towards me and Matt, and that would assist us in our adventuring through the anime. So, Tower of God, episode 5, The Crown's Fate. If you're just joining us and you haven't seen or watched us review episode 1 through 4, go back in the the YouTube library or on Spotify, wherever you're watching, and go back and check that episode out. But we're on episode 5. So, The Crown's Fate. How does that one go down, Matt?
Episode 5, to keep it brief, because we have more episodes to get through. Bam Kun and Rack continue on in the crown game as all the contestants fight each other. Bam loses his position on the throne, taking a blow for Rachel, and Leto Ro questions the administrator on why the crown game would be ran in the first place. Later on, Rachel revealing her identity to Kun.
There's a lot of good things I can say about this anime. I like its pacing isn't bad. I like the animation. It is very different than what classic anime would look like. It is more like a webtoon sort of, and some people that could throw some people off. Definitely, I do enjoy it.
It looks
The,
like a comic moving. It looks like a
yeah, a
comic
moving
in
comic
motion.
for sure.
I like
And
that. It's aesthetically pleasing, even if
yes,
it's not the highest fidelity.
yes, for sure. The It has some really likable characters. I really like Kun. I really like I
Rack.
said, what's it, Rack? Bam, okay, fine.
I'm
I know he has to be
the
there.
by episode 9, I like Bam a lot more. I like what
Sure,
I see from him interacting with the other rankers.
definitely. But what I'm getting at here, there's a lot I can say because I definitely want to get into the one thing, the one sort of problem that I see that I don't really understand. And I don't know if Matt, you have an answer. Maybe you probably don't, but we get some really cool weapons and all that stuff. All this stuff is cool. What is these tests?
What are the
Because
tests?
what
Yeah,
are the tests? Because we've had tests that have been coming. We are on this one, and then we're going to get test. What was it? Test number 4 later.
tag.
The two tests that we see in these 5 episodes. What are their purpose
Yeah, because
first?
it's
And
like
like,
they're team based. We've gotten into the portion of the tower where, as time moves forward, there's all of these team based things that start to be pushed, and it's like, these questions get posed from me later, but it's like when they are like, oh, all of these different positions, blah blah blah, and it's like, why? Like, isn't
sure,
this supposed to be one person climbing the tower? Like, isn't that
yes,
point? What is the point of this 5 position role system for teams? Who are we fighting?
yeah,
Who's the enemy?
sure.
Who's the
And
bad guy?
yes, whenever they introduce it, I do want to go in depth on that because there is a lot there that they expose on us. But this was the episode where I'm like, the fighting's cool. I love that. We get more information about Kuhn's bag, how it's a bag that can also copy. It's not a
Yes,
copying bag.
get
It's a
that
bag
reveal.
that can also copy. And we get some really cool revelations that some of the teams that were supposed to be against him are actually on his side. And I'm like, that's cool. I love that. Then they show us what actually happened. Him carrying them in the bag. He ties his hair up. It looks cool.
I'm pretty sure that's why earlier when they were walking through that initial field of I'm forgetting the stuff, the water stuff,
Uh huh.
Shinsu,
Shinsu.
his bag got stuck for a second. And I think
Sure.
that was everybody in his bag getting stuck until he like yanked them through.
Yes, and it makes sense. And even that test administrator, the main guy, he was like, "Your bag's a little heavier than it seems, or whatever." And we thought it was something, but then it turned out to be something else, even more. And I'm like, "That's great. I
Yeah.
love that. That's awesome." But like, this episode was when I was like, "Oh, we did it. We passed the thing." And um, what's going on? I'm like, what is actually happening here? Because it is cool. It's flashy. I love the fights. Lots of action in this one. Um, but I'm just starting to be like, wait a minute, under all this like glossy glow, all the shine, under all the lights, I'm like, wait, what's actually happening here? So this is when I started to be like, huh, about the main story. But I do love the characters. It's a lot of fun. We get the introduction of Urek Mazino, who is an irregular who can freely use Shinsu, which may come up later. I just wrote it down. I just thought that might be something. So Bam becomes Shinsu in this instance, and he becomes it, and now everybody's kind of looking at him, and seeing what's up with that guy. What's that about? Because that is irregular, if you were to say.
And
Um,
apparently it goes against the laws that the tower hold, or the laws
yes,
of the tower, because you always need to make a contract with an administrator before accessing Shinsu
Shinsu.
to the degree that Bam did.
Hmm. All really cool. I mean, what are you thinking about this so far? Like the end of this test, going into the next one. How are you? Who's your favorite character?
I mean, I'm liking everything that it's putting down. Honestly, favorite character is Leto Ro, the administrator himself. I just
Okay.
he's like I just think his mannerisms are really funny. I
Hmm.
think the whole setup of like him believing that Bam could be a like, a threat to something, but like he's
Uh-huh.
still allowing him to continue with the testing. It's posing an intriguing question, which is, why would he allow that to happen? If something goes wrong, would that put his job on the line? What is his job anyway? Well, again, that's all of these questions come full roundabout to like what is going on with the tower? What is the tower? Um, that's kind of the biggest thing that constantly is hanging overhead for me,
For
because
sure.
last week we were talking a lot about it and a lot of things just kept making me feel as though this is supposed to be some representation of like the afterlife or some purgatory between life and death or something, and I still have no idea where I'm at with that.
See, now that theory that you did pose last week, now that I was thinking about it and watching those in that lens, it even makes, I guess, less sense. I don't really know how much it holds up even after these couple episodes that we watched. I don't think it does, but it was a cool theory to think about for a little bit. But they've gone so much in a different direction that I'm almost certain that it's not that they're not all dead, and this
But
is
it's still
all.
just like what is going on? It's like
It could be a whole lot of nothing
certain theories have been put to rest, but it only raises more questions
for
for
sure.
sure.
Um, Episode 6, position selection. We get into this whole this is the episode where they just kind of explain a lot about what's going on and what they're going to be doing. So what happens in episode 6?
Rachel asks Kun to lie to Bam about her identity. Leto Ro introduces the different roles that make up a team in the tower, each serving a different purpose. Bam makes a contract in order to become a wave controller, and everyone begins to train under the respective roles they have been given.
So one thing I did really like is all the different camaraderie, all the different characters. I really like it. We have a scene
I
in the
like how it's mostly through. I mean, the show kind of poses it that it's a lot of Bam's influence that is causing
yes.
that to be happening. And it, like, when he gets up and he's out of recovery and he gets the headband and the jacket, I was like, bro, he's literally like Asta and Tanjiro just like kissed. And
Yeah,
this is like Bam. He's just so nice and so friendly, and he just wants to, like, even though he's the outcast, even though he's like not the person that
but
belongs, he's the
sure.
irregular. He's yeah, I like the way
He's
the
the
show,
glue, sort of,
yeah,
that's
I like
holding
the way
all
the show
these.
sets that all up.
For sure. In the beginning, we do see Rachel talking, and there's like I think I don't know if it's a flashback, but we do see multiple towers. It was kind of like a fleeting instance, and I was like, is there more than one Tower of God? Like, there's multiple towers of God that are happening because they do like a shot of the whole area, and it shows a bunch of towers just up. And I'm just, it was like it just really quick in the beginning. I was like, hold on, what's this about? She doesn't want to reveal herself to Bam because she thinks
Oh,
she'll
that
be
was
the
like that
weakness.
purple shot, right?
I think so, or right
Where
after
like they
it.
were going above the clouds.
Yes, and then in
Yeah,
above the
that's
clouds, there
right.
was just a bunch of towers, and I was like, "Wait a minute, are we in one of these? And what's going on?" So I thought that was interesting. Definitely want to bring that up. She thinks she'll be the weakness if they get together, so she doesn't give her. We still don't know her motive really. And what do you
She
think?
wants to reach the top to see stars.
But she's mad that Bam followed her.
I don't think I don't, the way the show sets it up, I don't believe it's that she's mad that Bam followed her. I just think it's that like there's probably a part of her that knows that she wants to go to the tower to see the stars, but she knows that he's only at the tower to see
Save her.
her.
Yeah.
And because like he broke down in tears asking her not to go, and if this is something that she was going to do, she can't have somebody by her side that's actively wanting her to stop trying to reach the stars,
Hmm.
because that's what she wants. At least that's that the way the show sets it up. That's what I believe her
Is it really
reasoning
just to?
is.
Yeah. Is it really just to see the stars?
That's what she says. That's all we have to really go on with this character.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, I think Rachel in the whole Rachel Bam story is the least interesting to me, just
Yeah.
because there's nothing to it really. I'm sure hopefully in the last couple episodes it'll bring some life to it by it being another reason, or I mean, the way that it's setting it up makes it seem like Bam is the chosen one, right? It's making it seem like he was brought here for a reason, or something, to make him be like that Neo character that's supposed to take everybody down because he's too powerful or something, but he doesn't know it yet. And but how did there's so many questions. Like I was about to say a question, and then like five other ones came out. Like, how did he get here? Why was he chosen? Was he chosen to do that, to actually take down the tower? Um, what is the real connection? Why does he have no memories? Like, there's so many other things around here. And then they throw this in here. We have so many questions, and then we have so many questions, and then they're like, let's take a look at the different
Time to play League of Legends.
yeah. We have fisherman, spear bearer, light bearer, scout, and wave controller. Why? I mean, they do show like
It's
showcase.
neat, and it's like it's a efficient, squad setup. Fisherman, frontline, spear bearer, like, takes enemies out from range. The light bearer finds the way. The scout gains information on the enemy team, and the wave controller supports everybody with Shinsu. It makes sense as a setup, but why do we need it to be here? Like,
Yeah,
sure, it's cool
Dan
and it's neat, but what's going on?
Dan says, yeah, the roles were really weird. It just came too late, and we're already in this thing,
I
and then
don't
it's
think
like,
it's
oh,
that
here it is.
I don't think it's that it came too late. I just think it grinds against the setup of so much of the show so far, where the first thing immediately it's like, hey, there's 400 of you, cull it down to 200. The last 200 standing wins.
And obviously
And
the wave controllers are the most powerful. because
Yeah.
they can control Shinsu. So it's kind of like when you pick a Hogwarts house or something. It's like, oh, okay, I got Hufflepuff or whatever. But it's like you are in from everything that has been setting up Tower of God. There's only going to be one person that reaches the top. In theory, I'm assuming
I mean,
one person
unless
that
like from this point forward, it's all like they never say that it's only one person that out of every group or whatever. It's just, hey, whoever reaches the top gets granted whatever they want.
sure.
So, but it just, yeah, it just begs the question of when we see later on they have team exercises where there's a bunch of traders running around. It just doesn't seem like it works.
No. And why are they trying to build these skills out to work
Yeah,
as a
to fight
team?
who?
To
For
fight
what
who,
reason?
I guess. Yeah, maybe there is
That's what my
some
big thing is.
galactic war that is happening. But you're right where it just goes against everything that they set up and kind of brings it to a halt. To have some really cool content. I really like the interactions. I really like the training, them getting to hone their skills, but I'm like there's clearly somebody that's way better than the rest.
Yeah. I
Like you
think
cannot fight
the
wave controller versus a spear bearer.
I
Like
think the show would have had a much better I mean, I would have received it a lot better, I think, if the show went more of the Hunter x Hunter direction where it's like, no, everybody's a wave controller, but what type of wave controller are you? Are
sure,
you an emitter? Are you a
because I did like
all
that.
these different types of like, even if it's just like 4 or something, just make it everybody's a wave controller. It's everybody controls Shinsu. Shinsu is the power scaling system, but
That you
how do
go
you
off
use Shinsu?
for sure.
And I think that's because we see Shinsu applied in a couple neat ways over the next few episodes too.
Yeah.
So I really feel like that is a missed opportunity for the show.
hmm Kuhn lies to Bam to protect him, and we get that wave controllers have to form contracts with administrators. The way that I interpreted Bam being so depleted by him forming a contract was that his power was so much higher than everybody else, and they brought him down like super to the bottom. So that's the way I interpreted that. We see the development of a interesting character, Ho, um, who did not let anybody else know that they were in pain or they were
Mhm.
weak, I guess. And we go on this like
Putting on a
arc
strong
within the
face.
next, yeah, putting on a strong face. We go on this little arc with them where it is a lot of show don't tell, and I really like that they in this anime that they're doing that, especially with Ho in these past couple episodes, where they just show him being defeated or show him in pain or just show him
Show
like
somebody
not.
else excelling at something and then show him struggle to get half the effect.
Yeah, and it's really bringing this whole thing that's happening on the sideline. I really like the way they did that. I don't know about how they executed the ending of it, but the way that it got there, I was like, okay, this is cool because we had this other character that we kind of saw, and it was like, oh, what is this? What's going on? Why are they showing this? And I was like, okay, this is dope. So I really liked that part of it. Dan says, I think it was actually the being he made a contract with was so strong because his power is so great, it took more out of him. Gotcha. Yeah,
That was
true.
more what I was kinda thinking,
Okay. Yeah,
because
for
they
sure.
never said that, like, you're all gonna meet the same guy or whatever, so and it
Yeah,
seemed like the one that Bam met was, like, super ominous,
for sure.
and then he was like, "Just remember, in your case, this contract is a shackle."
hmm We get some of the cooler stuff now here with Endorsi. I didn't know how big Endorsi was going to be in this part, and it turned out to be very cool. So Endorsi turns out, I think this is where we talk about, or where they talked about how she's a princess, Prince of Jihad, and Anak was given the green April right as she went to the tower, or how was it?
She became
Uh,
a fisherman, reached the top, and was given the green
Ye
April, yes.
yes, and then we find out that the real Anak is already dead, but it turns out that it's Anak's and Dorsey's like, "My niece, this is my niece." I love this stuff. This was great. I love these 2 characters. The backstory for Anak, definitely like it. Super cool. Was this where we got the flashback of in Dorsey killing all the other princesses to be?
That's the start of the next episode.
because I like that too. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, so in Dorsey for sure. After this, one of my favorite characters, and definitely has a lot of personality. Not like just normal how somebody emotes, but like personality wise and how she would react to things. I
Mhm.
understand it. I
Yeah.
understand her perspectives, and it's probably one of the more fleshed out characters, and I really like it in these couple episodes. Episode 7, Lunch and Tag. What happens in episode 7?
Anak is shown to be the daughter of a princess of Jihad, not the actual princess herself. Everyone continues to push themselves further in their role training before Leto Ro announces a new test, this time it being a game of tag with everybody split into two teams. However, he won't be the one overseeing the test this time. It will be a different administrator, Quants. Bam separated from the rest of his friends in Team A. Team A takes the stage first against Quants.
Very cool. Um, Not a whole lot that I have notes for. We did find, I guess it was like assumed that Jihad was the one that built the kingdom that everybody lives in.
He was the
He's the
first to
one,
climb the tower.
he's the first to climb the tower, and he built everything, and he anoints these princesses and people put them up, and he just has them.
Yeah.
I do want to
They're
see.
likened to like special edition shoes to be
Yeah.
looked at, but never to be worn or touched. But every once in a while, a pair of shoes falls out of place, and this being a knock.
So this is going towards the theory of them possibly getting ready for some sort of war or fight or something, because he does have these little collector items that he gives uh, really good swords to, where they cannot bear children to prevent the spread of power. Um, and there's like another rule, I think, where they have the what was the other rule? There was like two rules that they had to follow. Princesses had to follow, but um, it goes toward the theory that there's something else here. There's some sort of war that they're preparing, and now I'm thinking it's the Jihad building army for somebody like Bam that might try to tear him down. So I think Bam might be what adversary to Jihad and everything, the sustenance and the integrity of what the tower brings. I think Bam is going to be the ultimate enemy to that.
If that's where the show is going, I'd be very happy. Didn't think about that.
I think that's, yeah. The more that I put the pieces together, I think Jihad had some sort of maybe when he reached the top of the tower, he asked, "How do I die?" or something like that, and it's from some super powerful person that can develop Shinsu or something like that. And it's like, well, let me build an army of these princesses and have them at the ready just in case. Make these trials super arbitrary, because that's what they kind of seem to be to me. I don't know. All theories. I don't know what's going on, but in this one, the camaraderie was really nice. We find more information about Ho. They're not good at Shinsu. Ho receives a letter from someone, and then we get test 4 tag, which is, this is where I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Because they're talking about points. They're talking about dividing them up by their class. Um, this was it gets, it's not too much. It's just enough to where I'm like, what are we doing? Like, it's not overbearing with how they explain rules and
No, but
points and all this stuff.
it just feels very not convoluted, but again, it just there's there's a lack of cohesion with the testing all tying together to a bigger picture
Hmm.
is what I feel like.
Yeah,
Like when
Kaylin
they
said,
start
I got,
making up rules like, oh, for the spear bears, if they just hit the target that's really far, they just pass. They don't have to take the test.
hey, don't knock Rock. He
I'm
did
not
it. He did
knocking
it.
him for doing it. I'm
He
knocking the
did it.
system for
That's my
setting it
boy.
up that way.
That's my boy. He worked
Because
on it.
it like again, if it had like maybe shown what some of the other classes could have done in order to pass immediately, like sure, but it's like
Well, homeboy needed, the scouts needed 10 friends. So I don't see what you're talking
I
about.
thought it was 10 friends just to min pass the test. and like max pass the test means you didn't have to do tag. Basically, that's what like
I don't
that's how
know.
my brain was. See, but again,
Nobody knows.
lack of cohesion between all the testing, which
Uh,
for somebody like me is one of the biggest parts in a narrative like this. Is
mhm,
I want it all to connect in
for
the
sure.
grand scheme.
Kaylin said, I got lost at that part. Dan said, yeah, they didn't have any auto pass for anyone else, at least, not that they talked about.
And it's like that maybe that's the spear bearer uh the teacher's rule, and the teacher makes the rules on
Who
like,
knows,
whoever's
bro?
running the class. But again, yeah, it's again something that is not given the time.
No, for sure. And then they just go play tag and we get this whole other thing. I'm cool with the outcome. I like the action that happens. It's just the way that it sets up feels so arbitrary, and maybe until I finish the pot or finish the anime, then I'll be like, "Oh," and it would, hinder itself to lend itself to a rewatch and be like, "Oh, that's because of this," or something. But right now, as someone going through it for the first time, I'm just like, these tests don't really make sense to me, and I don't know why everybody's just going along with it. Like, did they know this was going to happen? They just know these are the tests that happen to get to the top of the tower, and that's what I want, so we're going to do it. And it's like, what? You're not questioning how much you've been in a team together. You had to choose a team right off the bat, a team of 3, and now you're just continuing in teams. Now you're getting separated into classes based on your abilities. It's a lot. Like,
It's a
it
lot.
feels like filler stuff, but then in the middle of it, they give some more story. So I'm like, it's
Yep.
not completely filler because it's not completely all bad and it's not all unnecessary. It just some of the stuff is unnecessary. So that's
It
kind of what I have
feels
a
it
issue with.
feels like it's constantly wanting to like tread water around like being this huge tournament arc anime, but then also being like a character driven drama where you want to see all these character interactions and relationships develop. But
Yeah.
at the same time, yeah, how do you care about these characters? Like, I'm not saying that I haven't cared about any of the characters. Some of them have like compelling backstories and stuff like that, but I'm just saying in the grand scheme, it's hard. It makes it harder caring about the characters when they're set up in a narrative that just seems so largely wanting to be a chosen one story.
Yeah. Because it is trying to be a couple of different things. And that's the part that I do enjoy the most is when we dive into characters and we see them interact and they're so different. All everybody there is just so different. We don't know everybody's motives, or we don't know super in depth about everybody, but we know enough that they can be characterized and it's a fun show. I don't want to talk too badly about it because I am enjoying
Yeah,
it.
that's what I mean. Like, I'm just trying to, if there are things that I had to say about it, those would be some of the things.
Yeah. So we go through test 4, we start tag, and we set a trap for with bait. So what happens in episode 8, Coon's strategy?
Team A strategizes around Kuhn in order to give Quant a run for his money. However, Quant would ultimately be victorious thanks to the help of Kuhn, who had just outsmarted him. Team B takes the stage with Endorsi betraying her teammates.
Oh man. This
I
the
really liked
action's
this
cool.
episode. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I liked it from the action aspect and the constant like the reason I like shows like this when they do these large ish game segments with like multiple people involved and stuff, tournament arcs, even stuff like that. I just like to see the problem posed and then interesting solutions around the problem. So immediately they try to do the ambush on Quant and it fails and they go, all right, plan B. We never saw them talk about plan A and plan B. So
Nope.
we know that they have a plan, but we just have to watch it happen and play out. And
Sort of
I
like
enjoy that type of stuff for
yeah,
sure.
sort of like Code Geass, where
Yeah.
we know they're planning something, but we don't know. We're finding it out as it's happening. We're finding out they are a chess piece ahead or a move ahead. Um, Man, the some of the characters' interactions are really good. I love Coon trying to talk his way out of the thing and him having faith because he couldn't possibly know that Quant would pull him. He just had faith that Anak would save him. I think, which was really cool that he was that, and that really cool that Anox did save him.
Bam says that Coon planned for that to happen, but
He does.
who knows?
I don't think, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if he did. I mean, because he seemed pretty like, oh, hold on.
Caught off
What
guard.
is this? Caught off guard, and there it is. Um, the whole point, again, I gotta say it because they made a whole thing about it. Like, well, if these people don't pass this, it's fine because they'll still go on, all that stuff. And I'm just like, what? I don't remember points. Like, I don't know everybody's points. What are you talking about? I don't know. I must have missed it or something. But they made a whole thing about, well, we can lose this and still go through. It's fine. Well, then what's the point?
I thought I was the one that missed something. I
No,
didn't catch
because everybody
anything about
apparently has points.
everybody. Yeah, everybody starts talking about, oh, we could lose this and we'll still pass. Oh, we could, if we don't win this, we're not going to pass. Oh, if they don't, if they, like
Well,
what's the
yeah,
setup?
I think it's like bogging itself down. Maybe this is in the manhwa or the webtoon, but like it's bogging itself down in the details, and we only have 4 episodes left. And I really want them to come to a head to something that feels climactic. But right now we're on like tier 3 or 4 of the tower, and we're coming into the end of season 1. So I'm like, how is this gonna go when we're just like talking about minutia of points here? Where's the bigger thing that's happening? I'm waiting for that because
Show us the scoreboard.
yeah, and
That's
I'm
all
like,
I'm asking for.
that's not interesting to me. Or if you are going to make it all about that, that's fine. Whatever. You want to make it about points and passing tests, fine. But you've already tantalized my tastes with something more. And now I want something more. I want something to become of Rachel and Bam. I want something to become of a Knox past and how Endorsey betrays the team and how it's show, the character development that she does in this next episode. I want it to be
The
more.
the characters are intriguing and most of them are likable. The problem that I feel like we seem to be having is that ultimately the like the overhead narrative that's going on with them proceeding through the tower, it just feels like the goalposts are constantly being moved around for the what the expectation is for people to like move on to the next level, so to speak. And
Sure,
it's like that's
because it's true.
that can be good. It can be good to subvert expectations and have people kept on their toes and stuff, but I feel like you try to find line of annoying people in constantly changing the rules and creating new rules and setting new things on the fly when you're not giving it the time and the respect it deserves to make it feel fleshed out and developed. Because I feel like that's what it's lacking, where we keep moving between stages, and it's like at the first couple stages, like there's no stakes. It's like 400 to 200. If you're a part of the 200, you move on. But now it's like, yeah, point values and teams and all this other stuff that's getting stacked up on top of it, but it's not really giving it the air out that it needs for it to feel developed. It's just giving it enough exposition to kind of end media res people, but then there's other things that feel kind of underdeveloped.
Sure, because I do like the tests. I mean, I like that red door test, like pick a door before 5 minutes runs out. I like that test. I like it like sort of like a Saw game. This one feels sort of like a more sort not dumbed down, but a more simple thing where it's tag. You got to take off the thing and from the other person and all this stuff. But I do like the game aspect of it. But Yeah, you're right. Cosmo says it was giving what it needed to give for sure. Hello, Cosmo. How's it going? Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody watching live on Twitch and YouTube. We appreciate you watching. Have you watched Tower of God? Give us your thoughts in the live chat. We appreciate you checking us out. Kuhn betrays the team, and Dorsey has a plan and took out one of her teammates. They're supposed to be teammates. So let's get into episode 9 because this one has a lot. Episode 9, The One Horned Ogre. What happens in episode 9?
And Dorsey reveals her reason for betraying her team, and Quant discovers the team is full of traitors. Ho requests Rachel speak about her and Bam before kidnapping her. Bam comes to her rescue as Quant also arrives. Rachel tries to escape from Ho but is stabbed in the back before Ho is subdued, quickly then after taking his own life. Quant thinks he defeats Team B, but Dorsey quickly turns the tables, snagging his badge.
A lot happened here. I don't know if I love all of it,
I
but I do
don't
love
think I loved all of it,
I
but
love Endorsey. Endorsey is one of my favorite characters now. Endorsey tells a story of her past, and the way it was story told was really cool. You it again, it doesn't tell you everything, but shows you and gives you just enough to bring the dots together. She's telling how she killed every single one of her sisters to become the only one left to be princess, and she was talking about what she had to overcome and what it felt like to not eat, like the hierarchy of that going on. It definitely adds to the world and I don't know what's going on, but it's happening, so that's
and
how the
that
world
like
is.
it's to, in an attempt to create a princess of jihad, there was like a family that would adopt girls and force them into harsh conditions to try to create someone like we have with Dorsey.
But with everything that they give us, there's like 10 other questions from me.
Yeah.
Why do you want a princess of jihad? Is that
Yeah.
for your family's sake? Then what does that bring? I
Prob
mean,
like from the way the show sets it up with her explaining like the weight of the princess of jihad and stuff, it seems like it's, yeah, to bring some sort of honor, respect, or something along those lines to
but
your family's name by being that pair of shoes on the shelf.
But in Kuhn's backstory, if you don't and your princess is not chosen, you get shunned from everything else, right? Like the whole family gets shunned. That's why he got shunned, because his sister wasn't chosen as a princess. So then, how do those two things coexist? If there's a family that always produces a princess and chooses the best girls to adopt to get a princess, then it would have to be that family always has a princess ready, which can happen because they have a
until
ton of
until
them.
until the day one girl was adopted who killed all the rest of them.
Yeah, and then she just coincidentally became the princess. Yeah. Dan says no, his sister was chosen, and then she then cast him out. I thought she wasn't chosen. Well, then I guess I'm not paying attention. I thought she wasn't chosen, so then he had to leave. You need to leave. No?
I'm gonna
Oh,
be
okay.
honest, I forgot.
Okay, that's fine.
I
There's a
couldn't
lot.
I couldn't argue either way because I can't remember. I remember paying attention, but I can't remember. I can't remember.
Can't remember to remember.
Can't
I mean,
remember.
maybe she wasn't, but I know she cast him out. Okay, I thought it was because she wasn't chosen. His family was all cast out. That's why everybody's like former fan. I don't know. I don't think it's going to pay much, pay off much in the end. We just get Kuhn's backstory, but we don't really get his reasoning for being there either. So we don't know a whole lot of stuff. But like I said, we get some cool stuff, but with all of it comes like 4 other questions, and I'm just like, what's happening? Um, then it goes into like how many fishermen can pass, because that's what Endorsee's talking about. There can only be 4 fishermen that can pass, and I'm gonna be one of them. It's like, well, what? Huh? Why? What is all this? Arbitrary. And but the crux of it here is Endorsey says something profound, which I think was really cool. This is what it means to climb the tower, and she's facing Bam, who is diametrically opposed to all of this, and he will not be swayed into either turning his back on somebody or tricking somebody or playing some role, as we've seen almost everybody do. We've seen Ho, we've seen Kuhn, we've seen Endorsi now sort of play and lie and cheat in some extent,
The only other
but he
person
won't.
would be Rack.
Rack is the
He's
only
just playing it
true.
straight.
I think Rack is gonna be at the top of the tower, and he's gonna wish for infinite candy
Chocolate
bars,
bars.
and I'm okay with that. If Rack wins it all, if I have one winner, I'm putting it all my money on Rack to take home the trophy, take home the tower,
Bro really
because
went to the wild to level up for 2 days and came back. Said, I
he
can
said,
do
"Let
it
me
now.
train." Let me do my training arc. Dan says I'm here for Rack as well. I love him. He's the best. He's great. I again, it doesn't overstay its welcome. The chibi stuff with him, just cut back to him always eating chocolate bars. I'm cool with that. The little faces where it's mostly his face and it's just dots for eyes in his little mouth, or his like jagged, he's like sideways and his jagged teeth are
Like
there.
when he's like, "No, don't fight. Just we're gonna rest this round during the crown game." And he's like,
Mhm. Yeah.
there's just little candy bars floating
Yeah.
by him.
It's so
Yeah,
good.
I'm here
Love it.
for Rack.
Um Bam tries to instill empathy on Endorsi, and apparently one of the fishermen has an ignition weapon. So we get an introduction of another type of weapon that is not the sword, but it is an ignition weapon, which is another powerful type. I like weapons when they're like cool. I like these like cool little weapons. We got all the swords, the months, those different kinds of swords. Then we got ignition weapons. Sounds dope. Don't know how it plays out in anything, but
I thought ignition weapons were gonna be only those 12 swords, but this is the first like time we see a non what are they called specifically? 13 swords, sorry, not 12. The swords of Jihad, the princesses of
yeah.
Jihad.
Mhm.
I thought it was only going to be those that could do the ignition. So it adds to the world that it's we see a non princess sword being used in
Mhm.
ignition, because then it adds to the question like what the limits of that really draw. Can it be more than just a sword that's an ignition weapon? Can we have ignition gun weaponry and stuff like that too?
'Cause we have only
What's
seen
going on?
swords.
Yeah,
There hasn't
mostly.
been guns, there's been Jinsu. Magic, sort of? I don't know. Dan says the non-detailed rack faces are the best. It's really funny. It still gets me. I'm not sick of it yet. It is, keep doing it. Keep on coming. Um Ho was set up. We get to the big section here. Ho stabs Rachel. Um, I don't know if I fully understood where he was coming from or really was behind him. Because he did get the note beforehand that says, "Hey, if you want to pass, you got to do this. If you want to, Bam is the person to beat because they're both wave. What are they? Wave breakers, wave, wave controllers."
Wave controllers.
But like, that was kind of a lot. I didn't fully really like what happened with Ho. Before we get to the
It
whole
was kind of a
seppuku.
lot, but the way everything was set up beforehand with him like struggling and not feeling like he was keeping up with his peers and stuff, like I bought into the fact that maybe he would do something along those lines to try to stay in the race and keep in the tower. I just think that again, it's like one of those things where when the show kind of jumps those certain moments, they can feel a bit underdeveloped when they're not being given the time to like flesh and air out, because like it doesn't lead to Rachel's death, which I think if it led to Rachel's death, it would have been, jumping a really big shark.
Sure.
But so the longer line consequences of that are yet to be seen, but it just doesn't feel quite impactful for him to then be taking his own life
Sure.
over him just doing that. It just didn't seem like that was where the disconnect was for me.
Hmm. Dan says he definitely wants more power and seems like he'll do anything to get it for sure. Um, he takes a hold of Rachel, but then also like there's this whole thing with Quant as well, where I'm questioning, adding more questions to the pile. Why was he so mad, or why was he so peeved that there's so many liars or traitors that are here? This is kind of, for what we
Because
know of.
the whole point of the exercise and probably what they're getting graded on is their execution, as a team, and if the whole test is to be handled as a team, and then they immediately start just like, yeah, stabbing each other in the back. After Team A's performance, I could see him getting peeved when he's already somebody who is set up to be easily annoyed.
Well, yeah, he was peeved because Kuhn and what's the guy in the sleeping bag? They were the traitors. Them two were the traitors, and he was like, "Oh, what the hell? What was
That's
that
right. He
about?"
already knew that at that point.
Yeah, so it's like everything that set it up is that this is for, well, at least to me, one person to be at the very top of the tower and become something, become a ranker. Um, but they're consistently put into team stuff now, and he's mad that there's a bunch of traitors. But isn't that, like in Dorsey says, how to climb the tower? That's so like that makes me think
I
that
just
he
work here,
knows
man.
more stuff. Like it makes me think that he knows something for sure that we don't know, that this is going to ultimately end up being a team aspect. Like this, you have to work it as a team. We're trying to prepare you for this, but they're not saying it outright. So that's why I'm kind of like, what, why is he so, I don't know, it just caught me because he was just so mad about it. He was just like, what's going on?
What's
Hello
going on
Andre,
indeed?
welcome to stream. Hello from
Give
YouTube
us the
land.
answers.
Bam copied the ranker technique very easily. Wick says Kuhn wants to make his own rules. That's true. I mean, we've seen that multiple times. He definitely doesn't want to follow the rules. And anytime somebody tells him to run left, he is gonna instantly go right. So I feel that. Bam copied the ranker technique very easily.
Love that.
Whenever, yeah, for sure,
I
easy,
just love
boom,
that again. It's more allusion to the whole chosen one theory.
for sure. The other big dude that didn't talk, I thought was interesting, that passed along with Rack. He just disappears whenever Rachel gets stabbed. So what do you think is that group? What was that group and what was he?
It must have been during that first test when it was like call 400 down to 200 or whatever, and then they only ended up with those three. When Endorsey got to Rachel, Rachel maybe already has some sort of Shinsu contract or something, and that was a way of her. What is she? Not a scout, but the she's like the one in the middle. I'm forgetting the light
Light
bearer,
bearer?
and maybe that's like when she's in her lighthouse. Maybe she's able to control that guy and like set programming for him or something. And he protected her from Endorsey, and that's the only reason why she lived through that.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know.
Dan says it could also be a part of Kuhn's backstory. We haven't been filled in on, but um, Ho ends up taking his own life, and I was like, What happened?" I mean, okay. One thing I do got to say with that I really like during all these fight scenes in the past couple episodes, the hits hit. I like that impact feeling whenever it's like, "Doo," and the sound goes with it. This feels brutal. Like every single bit, whenever they're fighting on the stairs, whenever they're trying to do some stuff, man, uh, what's his name? Who got betrayed? Oh yeah, because there was characters that betrayed the team while they were going up the stairs. The spearman left and all that stuff. He's like, oh, so many traitors on this team. What the
Yeah,
hell? So that was another thing we didn't mention. But like all the impacts and all the fights feel so heavy, and I love it. I love the impact in this anime. It definitely feels, if the fights feel weighty. And when he actually stabbed himself, I was like, oh, that kind of took me off guard. And you felt it. And I was like, whoa, this is
yeah. I
insane.
thought Bam was gonna like jump and like catch the blade with his hand or some shish,
Nope.
but nope. He just Everybody
He
just
just
watched
did
it
it.
happen.
Yeah, we just watched it happen, and um, Endorsey tricks the ranker to grab her underwear instead of the button. It was like, okay, that's
That
cool. That's
caught me
funny.
so off guard.
Yeah, it
Like,
was
what
pretty
is she
funny.
talking about?
I don't know. So that was episode 5 through 9. Matt, I'm on the fence with this. I like a lot of things. I know we talked a
I
lot
like
about
a
the
lot of things,
bad.
but I don't know if by the end of these episodes that we'll watch next week will have me feeling like this is something that is just anything more than something you watch when you have nothing else to watch.
Oof.
Like
Okay.
it really, I'm really having a hard time finding like the appeal so far over its contemporaries, and why you
Okay.
would watch this versus something like right now you have, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting names so much. You have Solo Leveling like kind of airing right now. You have all the big ones, Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, that have just aired. Uh with these,
But there's a lot of people that like this anime.
there's a lot of people that
Like there's
like
a
this
big
anime, and I know that the story might be, this might just be the setup for something like totally grander than it's even revealed so far. But I guess, yeah, the what I'm trying to say, long story short, is I'm finding the hard part of where you argue that this is like compelling so far, other than it being very inspired by a lot of other media that's also very impactful and culturally impactful. This just doesn't feel like it's going to be something that stands like the test of time,
sure.
I guess.
I
I
do
don't
like
know.
the
I'm
characters.
having a really hard time seeing it.
Sure. The story I think is definitely weighing it down, even though at times it feels uh super easy to follow along, but then it does some things to itself to make it more complicated and complex, but I don't think it's needed. So there's a lot of stuff where it feels like it's wasted time because we only have 13 episodes in the first season. Now, are they already set for a season 2? Probably, because Crunchyroll did this. Crunchyroll was behind it, so they might already just be like, just give us a season 2. We're fine with it. We're gonna push it to the moon because it runs on our platform. But like, I like the characters. I like a lot of stuff. The animation is cool, but yeah, I'm on the fence with like you're saying, there's so much better stuff out there that this might not be enough. I wouldn't say somebody to go see it just yet. We haven't seen the last 4 episodes. It could change definitely, but as of right now, I don't know if I would recommend people to watch it so far, unless some insane thing happens in the last 4 episodes. I definitely feel on the fence where this is just a moderate anime. I want to love it because I love the characters so much. I want to love the concept, but there's so many questions still. And I feel like you're saying, I don't think I'm
I'm
going to get
feeling
all of them answered.
I'm feeling underwhelmed right now.
Sure.
I'm just feeling left underwhelmed.
hmm So next week we are going to finish this anime off. We're going to put it on the ranking from S to F, and you will be able to rank it as well. So I'm going to post a link whenever this episode comes out. It'll come out on Friday. You're watching it live right now, but it'll come out on Friday. I'll post a link in the Discord. So join the Discord, or I'll put it on YouTube. I'll put it in the comment or in the description on Spotify. You can vote where you rank Tower of God on animation, storytelling, and vibes. Those, your rankings will go into how we rank it all together. So your votes count for this anime. And I'm going to rate it, Matt's going to rate it, and you're going to rate it if you watched it, and it will all come together to give us a final score. Episode 10 through 13, 10, 11, 12, 13, 4 episodes by next week, and then we'll go on to the next anime. We're going to pull a new anime out of the bucket. So, Matt, when you're not climbing the tower, where can they find you?
Right now you can find me on my Twitch at Matt_Galley for now. And then you can also follow me on my socials. Just add an ITS at the front, at ITS Matt_Galley. It's where you could find me. I'm playing a lot of Helldivers, man. It's a lot of fun. You should join our Discord, our Discords, and we should play some Helldivers. When we're not here, where can the people find you?
All my stuff is on YouTube now, youtube.com/JulesTheHuman. Shout out to everybody that's watching on YouTube. I go live on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. I'm not really using my Twitch anymore. It will only be for the anime podcast. So if you want to see my live streams, all of my live streams will be on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/JulesTheHuman. I'm sure I'll have a link somewhere. But all of my live streams, all of my shorts, long form videos, all on YouTube, all in one place. I'm making exclusive content for members. So if you want to become a member and join, you can do that. Or you can find me on the other stuff, Jules the Human on all the other things. You can watch this anime, or you can watch this anime podcast on my YouTube or on Spotify. Just look up the Jules and Anime Hour. You can watch the videos on Spotify and rate us there and all that good stuff. Dan said Helldivers is a great time. I just played the tutorial and it seems like a lot of fun. Matt's been diving for a while. He's a veteran diver. So maybe Dan, we should link up. That would be fun. Oh, me and Matt are gonna play tomorrow probably. So if you're watching this live, we're gonna probably hell dive. So let us know if you're a hell diver. Next week, episode 10 through 13 of Tower of God. And that's been the Jules and Anime Hour. We'll see you next time.
Bye.